Next, we wanted to cover the ToxiRAE Pro, and this one has the CO2 sensor in it. So the reason we started using this was because a lot of gas stations and movie theaters and whatnot have a CO2 system for their soft drinks. So a lot of the times when those things go off, we wouldn't be able to actually tell how much CO2 there was. So now that we have this, a couple things about the monitor. When we turn it on, you'll notice it doesn't have any type of sound to it because it doesn't have a pump. So the way this works is by actually walking around with it and using it passively by going into each room. When we look at it, it's going to just have one sensor, which is CO2. It has the parts per million, and it again will have a little bottle next to it if it needs to be bumped or calibrated. So when we look at the screen, we can start talking about what's normal and what's not normal. So CO2 is in our air at all times. So 250 to 1,000 parts per million is normal. So if you're outside, it might be on the lower side. If you're inside, especially a crowded room that doesn't have great ventilation, you're gonna see that CO2 number go up, and that's completely normal. Once we hit 2,000, the alarm will start going off. And this is the 2,000 to 5,000 range. We'll start seeing some signs and symptoms. And those could be headache, nausea, dizziness, and difficulty thinking. And then once we get to 40,000 parts per million, that's the ideal H. While CO2 isn't toxic in itself, it does displace oxygen. So that starts to load the oxygen level, and that's why it becomes an ideal H. So when you're looking at these type of occupancies that have CO2, a lot of them will have their own alarm system and they'll go off, and then we'll go to check on it, and that's when these come in handy.